Good morning. Hi, everyone. Enjoying a beautiful summer. It's warming up over here in LA. Lisa, she had the heating on yesterday. What? Where are you? And why are you cold?
Okay. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, hello. So welcome to our Live and Love. This was an interesting fifth Wednesday in the month because we had such an active participation in the month theme of the nature of acceptance throughout July, and because the retreat fell this past week, we felt that it was important given July's theme, and I'm sure you guys got the update. The July theme is the nature of communication. Such a vast idea.
Really.
And when you start to really think about communication, excuse me, I'm just gonna find my way. My chair is a little uncomfortable. Okay, there we go. The vastness of this idea called communication, as Eric and I were breaking it down, we thought very worthy to premise the theme today, to look at everything that we're going to step into next month. And the way we ultimately decided to approach next month's theme, again, the nature of communication, was to look at it from not dissimilar to the nature of acceptance through these pillars or subsets, but we're going to introduce throughout next month, each week, an idea, a subset, right, of what communication may mean in sort of this overall mind-body experience that we're having. So the 4 pillars that we're going to explore each week will be language, will be the first, from the perspective of energy, light, and information. You know, I think often we've said the reconnective healing experience is a language. We're then going to merge into a subset of communication called earth.
And from the perspective of nature. And we'll be talking about sex. That's S-E-X, from the perspective of biology and overall design.
And I will qualify that week will be just Eric. Jillian
Oh,
will
really?
not be participating.
Why, you don't have sex?
In the L&L. It's so good that we can just be ourselves with this community. I will tell you, it's important. No, it was actually how we mapped it out. In that week, I have something that I need to speak at. So Eric will be doing that particular L&L on the nature of communication and sex by himself that week. But we will be collaborating on it. So that will be fun. And then the very last pillar in this theme is going to be prayer from the perspective or a subset of meditation and communion. So that'll be sort of the 4th area that we explore. But I think for just this time that we're sharing together today, we wanted to explore what is communication. And I'm going to let Eric share a lot of the musings that came to us in this way. And then we'll circle back a little bit to what will be the upcoming subset and themes, okay?
And really, these are musings. And in allowing ourselves to muse, we get to discover and uncover and reveal. I mean, what is communication? We tend to think of communication as words, verbal language, yet, and of course, nonverbal language in the way of sign language, pictorial language, yet really is a glance, not language, two people deciding from across the room whether they're interested in one walking toward the other and saying hello or starting a conversation, a touch on a shoulder, a touch of a hand. How about two infants? How about newborns gathered in a room and one looks towards the other when they can focus and see? Is there not communication in that at a point where, focus is clear enough to see? Look, for all reality, what about a couple of goldfish in your bowl? Do they see each other? What about if you place one bowl on the other side of the table or across the room? Is there not communication? What about life partners? What about when we're lying in bed at night touching? What about when we're lying in bed at night and not touching? And what about the communication of a parent and a child, whether they're in the same room, another part of the house, or another part of the planet? So is communication, is it listening? Is it hearing? Listening and hearing aren't necessarily one and the same anyway. Is it feeling? Of course, because all these things are receiving. It's feeling and it's more. Communication is receiving. You receive communication, and receiving encompasses all of these.
So since we are always in the inquiry of the reconnective healing experience, it is receiving energy, light, and information. And I think topically in the first week, which will be next Wednesday, we want all of you to consider why for you is the reconnective healing experience a language? Or why is language, in a way, part of your understanding of how you understand the reconnective healing experience? Because everything that lives as energy, light, and information is a receivership. There is no other way that it becomes part of our experience. So reconnecting with the knowingness of who we are, we kind of explored that today in Solomon. It's so amazing how the Solomon speaks is so overlapping. Trust me, there's been no planning
coordination around this.
That is absolutely the movement of these frequencies. So the awareness that we are remembering and remembering. Eric wrote that with a hyphen, and he often is breaking words apart, language. You're going to notice in your email today, there is a piece that we're sharing with you on language. So you want to pay attention to that today. It's an audio and a written. It's quite layered, but this breaking apart of the etymology of language or communication is important. Again, we've in English, because we speak that primarily. Again, dis-ease or disease is something for decades people have tried to tie into the nature of their wellness, right? Remembering. So in English, the dismembering, a very shamanic principle, very, very deeply explored in the communication of all shamanic healing, is this dismemberment that happens as part of the remembering or the realigning or the reconnecting.
And for those of you that, if English is a second language, just give a visual example. If there's a grisly murder and the murderer chops off the arms and the legs of the body, that's called a remembering. Or in a prettier picture, you have a young child with a doll, and then they pull the arms and legs out of the sockets. They've dismembered it. So when they put the arms and legs back in, they've remembered it. So remembering, in one way, we realize with mind, memory, other concepts, and to remember is actually to put back together, maybe the same way and maybe another way, maybe even more interesting.
Yes. So, and communication, and again, shamanic healing in some ways, often there's a great way in which dismemberment takes place. It's essential in some ways to their understanding of the transcendent or the enlightened body mind. And we want to understand that, yes, the body mind becomes enlightened to what it is. It isn't that we are seeking a state of enlightenment. It is just this way in which reconnecting happens. And we'll give you some, I think I'm going to bring some of into communication this month, some of the Indigenous grandmothers' concepts, because they can be very story rich in how we begin to look at language and how we begin to understand communication. And it's sort of a part of what we do in religious practices. It's what we do in art and in dance and in poetry and in math. It's all linked to this greater understanding of communication.
Wait a minute. They promised me there'd be no math involved here. I'm leaving.
So remembering means, for the reconnective healing experience, we are never disconnected.
And, it can feel at times that we're disconnected, and we go around thinking we're disconnected and trying to reconnect. And it's simply the forgetting, you could say, in a sense, or a not recognizing our oneness. I spoke about this just a touch in this morning's Instagram. It's really, again, like if you've got lots of gray clouds in the sky every day for 2 weeks, you sort of forget that the sky is blue, but the sky has always been blue. And we have always been in connection, but sometimes we forget. So knowingness is really the unfettered communication with the oneness that we are, the unobscured. And ultimately, if you think about it, we are communication by, in, and as our very nature. So again, let's let go of the linguistic feeling or concept behind communication. We're in communication if we're on a camping trip in the woods with the bears, even if they're just deciding whether or not to come take a look, steal some peanut butter, or eat a little something that we didn't intentionally bring as food.
Because I won't be participating in the sex week.
Damn.
You are. When we look at biology and science and this kind of communication, obviously for those of you that are really deeply rich in neuroscience and in quantum physics, this is where we'll I think really break open some of these kinds of communication examples that are being very widely used right now. The field, the concept of the field being ultimately the knower of all communication is just one angle. Don't get lost in any one angle. Okay? It's much more vast.
So, can you keep a secret? No. We can pretend not to know something, not to share something, not to disclose something, not to communicate something, but we can't really keep a secret. We can pretend not to know it. We can hold ourselves or others to the illusory standard of, if I didn't say it, I don't know it. If you didn't speak it to me, I don't know it. You're responsible for letting me know. And we're only accountable for knowing that which we read or heard, or which was intentionally or clearly spoken to us. Yet that's really an utter denial of our knowingness, our existence as communication. Look at the word communication. It comes from communal, like communal living, like a commune, or to commune, whether it's a noun or a verb. So a lot of times someone will ask, how do we know something? And we might, after looking inside for a moment, respond, I just know. There's so much certainty in the knowingness that you allows us to say, I just know, because there's no doubt. It's so much more certainty than I know because science told me. I know because the research. I know because I read. I know because these teachers said, but teachers change their mind. Science changes their opinions. But knowingness, the I just know, is an is.
And very much tied to the simplicity of the before all experience. Again, we keep exploring the inquiry of receiving, but when we get into something as refined as this, I'm going to suggest that no matter what your role, the activity of you as, in Katerina's case, an HR, psychologist dealing with communication at the epicenter of activity, purpose, people moving in business. And, we can then break it apart. What about when you get home and there is the communication and activity with your loved ones or your animals or your plants or your home or your neighbors? This activity is so vast and diffused, it becomes more microscopic and granular the further we move into the beyond. So if we know that, where would the purity, force, vast, most elastic starting point that we could weave or reconnect to in order for all these subsets to be most powerful on our behalf? Where would we fortify that receivership? So all these little subsets of our communication activity would be most illumined and enlightened. It would be in the before. It would be exactly what you're exploring in the inquiry through the reconnective healing experience. So it's important that when we are asked to come to a training or we are asked to look at teamwork, you can look at the strategy and the formula for it. But if you do that only from the perspective of science or math or art, or if you limit the lens of understanding there, it's limited. It just is limited. So that's why I think we want to break apart even the formula known as communication this month and have you all walk it, live it, share with each other.
Or YouTube it, which is my reminder to say, hey, YouTubers, we're going to be signing off. And want to say goodbye to you, but hopefully you'll go down to the link below. You'll join us. You can continue with us right here. You can join the Reconnective Life Community. The first month is free, so you can follow with us live. And also you can click on the link to the portal, our online course, and the first hour of that is free too. So come play, and we're going to see you somewhere soon, maybe even in a matter of minutes.
Wow.
Well, how do you do like
If
that?
I was a YouTuber, I would click. Okay. Speaking of YouTube, I mean,
I was clicking. Sorry. We're not always as corny. Sometimes we're worse.
so, but YouTube is a good example because we now live in this wonderful era of social media and vast channels that are constantly navigating a communication system. And we
Hi, I'm Eric Pearl, and we have launched an online course called The Portal. It's an expansion of our online essentials, our level 1, an 8+ hour e-learning course.
And we decided to add content because our students were asking for more. What is a portal? It's a doorway to transformation.
It includes the 8 hours of the online essentials course,
2 key chapters, one on love and one on healing, and workbooks from our worthiness episode from the series The Inner Compass.
more than 10 hours of content.
The portal helps us discover our roadblocks that may be stopping us from living our fullest potential.
How does the portal help bring about these benefits? Easy to follow short segments with interactive exercises, information acquired not only through the mind, but through interaction with the frequencies themselves. Effortless learning and personal evolution.
It brings the possibility for instant transformation, healing, and the evolution of each and every one of us in our everyday lives.
Hey there, family. Dr. Eric and Jillian here.
welcome everyone.
And we're very excited about Reconnective Life, our first online global community. This is the most exciting way we've been able to get together since I founded the Reconnection. It'll be a place where we can do things together. We'll move into breakout rooms at times when that's appropriate. We'll have energy interactions and meditations and exercises. In other words, expect things you haven't seen before.
You are so charged.
Things
He
really
is so lit about every new way we get to be together every day. Just be together. Let us just speak a little bit about what is going to be the shape of this community.
In this community, we can share and discover more. Here we can talk to each other, we can chat, we can learn from and about one another. Jillian, me, our life leaders, and you will be in daily conversation with you. Weekly, we will have Facebook Lives.
We will be with you every Wednesday. Sometimes it'll be just Eric. On occasion, it might just be me. Sometimes it'll be the two of us. It's all about giving you a way to look at the week living in the frequencies.
And in every 4th week, we will include a live Q&A so we can talk about the things that have been coming up for us, discuss back and forth, share, grow, expand together.
And the ever-growing library of content that has been created over 20 years that will be on demand for you. It will be on-demand content for you to view, enjoy, share again with your inner circle.
And monthly, we are going to have live Zoom retreats. We're going to bring in some exercises and experiences and things that previously we've reserved for our physical retreats, you know, when we were in the different location resorts and things. And we're modifying them so that we can work with these with you in your home, in your living room, in your den. Put into the chat room, what is facility? We're having these weekly Zoom in-depth Q&As.
Finally, we have a place and space to just define what does that really mean living in the frequencies.
This is something that is in all of us.
Everyone can do this.
It doesn't matter how many levels you've gone through or how well you know the programs. It's a community that allows us to recognize how interrelated we all are as receivers of energy, light, and information.
See you there.
Reconnective life, living in the frequencies every day.